some doctors told me to accept the fact that I am gluten sensitive. I would say that I'm a bit sensitive because I don't really suffer from celiac disease, but I do have a lot of stomach pains when I eat a lot of pasta, or I would have a bloated feeling when I eat a lot of grains. But I just love rice so much. I mean, how can you just say no to rice? And Asians, that's just part of it. But with Paleo, I was able to really understand, because of the other reason I mentioned earlier, that I really understand the need for some food groups. I also found myself getting cured because I can stay away from things that I know are bad, and I would weigh the options. Would I take this and suffer afterwards for a bit of pleasure, or should I just stay healthy and just enjoy the things that are really lasting? So those are the 5 things that I loved about Paleo, the good things that I personally experienced with Paleo. And let's go right ahead with the bad things that I experienced about this diet. It's a really hard to sustain diet. It's probably the hardest diet that I have come across, but it is just really, it makes a lot of sense, but it's really strict. You already know it's serious when it tells you that you cannot eat any processed food. But it's just so hard because you can't eat out. You start being this kind of sad person in the office who can't afford to go on lunch outs or dinner with colleagues or friends. And there's a limitation on what you can eat, and there's a lot of things that prevents you from just socializing. So it's tough. It's hard. There's a lot of preparation involved. There's a lot of I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night because I would have bad dreams thinking that I ate the bad food or something that's not allowed, and it's just the 22nd day. it was really crazy during the first year. So it was kind of really tough because the food options are so limited, and most people, when they prepare your food in the restaurant, unless it's a hotel, they don't really adhere to the Paleo diet. Well, my tip for you is to go to a Filipino restaurant. Usually they would have the lechon kawale, or that's a deep fried pork belly, and there's just salt and pepper in it, and they will serve it in vinegar. Just be very careful about the vinegar, because the vinegar doesn't have to be cane vinegar or something like that. So it has to be natural vinegar as much as possible, coconut vinegar that doesn't have any sucrose or whatever. But those things are prepared in Filipino restaurants, and sometimes I feel safe when I find a Filipino restaurant and I'm eating out with friends. So anyway, second thing that I found as a huge problem with Paleo is that it's not recommended for travelers. There was a time when I traveled a lot, both locally and internationally. So I would travel, I would schedule my Paleo diet in a month that I know I wouldn't have a business travel. And things changed because I also changed jobs sometime 2-3 years ago, and I kind of lost it because I stopped the Paleo diet. I can't even survive. I kind of maybe just did 22 days, and that's what I did. 10 days I stopped. I did 22 days, I stopped again, because I was on a fieldwork based role. So I changed from having a desk job to a fieldwork based job, and I just can't sustain it, because if I keep my lunchbox in the car, I knew that the temperature might make it stale, or it would just smell bad in the car. And if I bring a lunchbox as well in the restaurant, I just have to pay corkage, and sometimes it's just a hassle because I'm paying double. I have corkage, I have food, and then if I don't eat it, then I'm just wasting food. So it's I mean, it was a nice excuse because sometimes I really don't like the food served in restaurants, so I'll just say I'll eat my food. But it's also like a hassle. Like, sometimes you just don't want to put people in a situation like they have to think about you and they have to worry about you, because doesn't have to be that way. So the third thing that I find hard about paleo is that, like I mentioned, it's hard for certain jobs. Like for me, like when I started doing field work, it was really tough. Like, you can only do it if you're if you're working, if you're someone who can control your entire month, then you can go on the paleo 30-day diet. But if you're someone who you don't even know where you're gonna be in the next week or 2 weeks from now, it's just really hard. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped it, because I just can't. The fourth reason that paleo is bad, and sorry, it's not bad. I mean, the fourth reason why I found paleo to be a really hard diet is that if you don't have the willingness to cook and to prepare your food, it's gonna be tough. And sometimes it's not about willingness. Sometimes it's about you not having the time as well. Because sometimes you come home and it's been a hard day, and suppose you already had the batch cooking, but even with the batch cooking, you still need to clean your lunch boxes. You need to clean all those like food preparation cases that you used the day before. It takes a toll. There are times that you go home late and you come in from work. This is not an exaggeration. There are really times when your meeting ends at 10 p.m. and all you can do is drive home. And when you come home, you just have some time to like maybe rest for a bit. You don't have that time to actually like clean your lunch boxes and to take away all the grease, because the food, they're normally like rich in fat and all that sauces. So and then fourth, even if you do batch cooking, sometimes you just have time to do batch cooking for 3 days and you get really sick of the taste profile after the third day. So you want to have a kind of shift. And before, it worked for me because I would know what will happen to me the after 3 days. So I would do batch cooking every 3 days, and it works for the entire week, even if I'm working, and then on weekends I'm home. But with the changes in jobs and things that I did, sometimes I work on weekends, and I cannot do batch cooking on weekends, and it's just tough. I noticed that during the time when I was having a lot of exercise and I was kind of really strict with the paleo diet, that I cannot sustain the intermittent fasting side by side with the paleo. But now I kind of realized that it can happen because I'm slowly going back to my paleo. Maybe not the whole 30 because it's the Christmas season right now and it's a bad time to be saying no to friends when you haven't seen them for quite some time. So I'd be very careful about the food that I will order, but I noticed that because I've been doing intermittent fasting for like a year and a half already, I already know how to do it. And because I've been doing paleo like 3 years ago for 3 straight years, I already know how to manage it. So, and I don't do a lot of exercise right now, so I just kind of like go to the gym for like 2-3 times a week. I do some push-ups at home and some body weight exercises at home, but very minimal. So I noticed that I can do it side by side. So I guess if you're someone who's interested in doing paleo, you can leave a message below and you can ask me more questions about my personal experience. I am not a doctor. I am not someone who is an expert on paleo or whatever. This is just my personal experience, and it's like something that I want to share with you, because even if there are bad things that I noticed why I wasn't able to sustain it, but I'm going back to it right now, I also noticed a lot of good things that are like over the top, and it's just something that you want to go back to, and I just miss it a lot. I just miss it a lot, to be honest. It's strict, but it really works. So I hope you get something good out of this, And I hope that this is not something to discourage you, but actually to make you ready for paleo if in case you want to do it, or if you're doing intermittent fasting at the same time with paleo. And I really hope that this helped you a lot. And if you like this film, please hit thumbs up button and do subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching until the end of this video, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Thanks, bye! I recently bought this thermo cafe thing. It's about 1,000 pesos only, or 1,100, and I got it for a deal of 900 pesos. So it was on sale in restaurants, and it's actually a steel mug with something like a rubber in here, and you can actually have a watertight. I don't really know if it doesn't drip, because when I carry my meal here, I usually bring in like a beef stew here, and there's soup in it, and there's the beef or whatever, and I usually cook some food in the slow cooker, and then I put in here, and then I bring the salad separately, and it stays warm for about maybe 6 hours. So it's not bad. I really loved it. It's a thermo cafe by Thermos. If you're into paleo and you're someone like me who doesn't want to go through the microwave part, I don't like microwave food. It just changes everything. The taste, everything. I refuse to use anything with that partition with the plastics, because I felt like if I'm going to put something really hot, anything that comes in contact with plastic might be something that is bad for me, because I might eat the plastic. So I just picked the one with the steel. And anyway, I don't really turn it around. So even if this is kind of like a plastic and there's a rubber in it, there's very little contact on the hot meal that I prepare, because it just stays like up to here in this level. So I hope that you get to see this, and maybe this is a good tip for you. Apart from the fact that you need to purchase a slow cooker is like really the most amazing thing. You just buy it for about $20, about 1,000 pesos or 1,500 pesos, depending on how big you want it to be. I bought mine, like the brand is Kiowa, and it's an oblong kind of ceramic slow cooker, and it has really done a lot of wonders to my food. It is, I think it's a Korean brand, I'm not so sure, but the brand is Kiowa, and you don't really need to buy anything really expensive. You just have to buy a slow cooker, throw everything there, sleep overnight, and then your meal is ready the next day. So I hope that this is a good addition to like addendum to this video. So thanks a lot for watching. See you again soon. Bye.